horses. Okay. Oh, that's not good. Okay, here you go. Happy 2020, guys. As you may notice, I'm not in my room. I'm trying something new this year. I want to film in new locations so that it doesn't get boring. I feel like it gets a little boring seeing me in the same place. Where am I, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. I am in Ecuador still, in a small town about 2 hours north of Quito where I live called Cotacachi. I'm gonna make a video on this town, this province actually, because I'm in another province. It's the most beautiful place you'll probably ever visit in Ecuador. And I also want to make a video on this house because it has a lot of history, but I'll tell you all of that in a different video. Anyway, 2019 flew by way too fast. I feel like this year is the year. Like, I feel like this is the year of like many great things happening. So many things that I want to do and learn and see, and this is the year for that. This is the year for new things. However, in order for me to have a great year and in order for me to accomplish a lot of the goals that I set for myself, I need to get organized. During community college and while I was at UCSB, I was so organized. Like, I was an organized student. I feel like that was always the type of student that I was. And not even the type of student, I feel like that was just the type of person that I was. Now, when I moved to Ecuador, I kind of lost all of that. I haven't been able to completely organize myself and find my daily routine. So this year I decided to start a bullet journal. I watched so many videos on bullet journals and I loved it. Now, starting off this month, I haven't been able to go back home and actually get on track with my bullet journal. So I'm gonna do that starting next week when I go back home. But until then, let me show you how I organized myself for this year. So for my journal, I chose a premium edition dotted notebook journal by Minimalism Art. It's a golden yellow hardcover with 234 numbered pages and 120 GSM ink-proof paper, which I really like because it's thick enough so that any ink pen or marker that I use doesn't seep through. Now, I don't normally go for bright colors. I usually stick to black, but I really enjoyed this gold shimmery color and I thought it went really well with my 2020 layout theme. The company is based in San Francisco. I'll link the exact journal down below so that you can check them out. On the inside cover, I decided to put my key, which outlines what symbols mean what. So I have a symbol for task, completed, in progress, canceled, which I totally misspelled, event, note, YouTube, birthday, and travel. And it's always nice to have a key section to go back to in case I forget which symbol means what. And on the next page, I wrote out my name in calligraphy, which I'm not a complete expert at, but it's been really fun learning the technique. So let's begin the layout. In this section, I wanted to write a couple things as sort of an intro to the new year. So what better way than to draw a hello 2020 message and a new year quote. The quote I chose was, "Cheers to a new year, another chance to grow." And I just thought that was a nice reminder to stay inspired throughout the year. For this layout, I chose an Art Deco theme with gold, yellow, and silver colors. Now moving on to the next section where I draw out a grid spacing cheat sheet, and what that basically is a spacing guide for pretty much anything that you want to draw or write out in your journal, and I found it really useful for when I was drawing out my calendar setup or spacing out a quote. And speaking of quotes, of course I chose another quote for this layout, and I know it's a little cliche, but they really do help out with motivation. On this page, I chose the quote, "And so the adventure begins." So now we have my future log section, which is pretty much a yearly overview where I write down any important event like birthdays or important dates to remember from specific months. I divided this section into 6 columns and 2 rows. Obviously, the name of the month goes at the top, followed by the actual calendar underneath and a small section for notes below that. And as you can see, I kept the silver and gold Art Deco theme going for the month text. This next section is my favorite, and it's my 2020 goals. So here I write down any goals that I want to set for myself, whether it be short term or long term, big or small, it doesn't matter. It could be to exercise more or to learn a new instrument or to even grow my channel or start a business. It's always nice to have different types of goals just to keep yourself going throughout the year. And next to this is my YouTube ideas section where I basically jot down all of my ideas for videos that I want to put out on my channel. I always find myself thinking of new ideas and I always forget to write them down, so it's nice to have a section dedicated to just that where I can always go back and see what ideas I come up with. This next page is my things to check out page where I write down any movies or TV shows or music or podcasts that I hear about or that someone suggests to me. So right now I have that divided into just those 4 sections, but I do want to incorporate more categories as I go along. So moving on to my places I visited section where I write down any cool or important places I've been to, whether it's far away or within my city. And for the layout, I drew out a few squares or sticky notes that look like they were hung or taped to the wall. And in each square, I'm going to jot down the name of the place and the date when I visited. This next section is kind of a throwback page and it's my looking back at 2019. So in this section, I have a few things written down like personal accomplishments, career accomplishments, mistakes that I've made, something that I learned, something I needed more of, highlights, something I was grateful for, and something that I've tried. Looking back at this section is always nice because it's a good reminder of all the things that I did or learned last year, and maybe some things I wish I did more of or did differently. The next page is similar to the looking back at 2019 section, only it's a looking forward to 2020 page. So instead of personal accomplishments or career accomplishments, I have personal goals or career goals. I have a section for type of person that I want to be, things that I want to learn, things that I want to let go of, things that I want to try, what I want to keep, and places that I might want to visit. This page is helpful to keep track of certain goals that I have or new things that I want to learn or places that I want to eventually visit this year. So next I have my 2020 vision board page, and in this page is where I'm going to put a Pinterest board style of all the things that get me motivated. So maybe some quotes that I find inspirational or pictures of places that I want to visit or maybe some things that I aspire to have. So it's always nice to have this section to look back on whenever I'm feeling in need of a little motivation. This next page is my 21 things to do before 2021. And I also got this idea from AmandaRachLee's channel, and I absolutely love it because I feel like it's very doable. 21 things in a whole year really doesn't seem like a lot, and they don't have to be giant bucket list goals. So it could be something as simple as trying out a new restaurant or something big like skydiving. Next to that page is my self-care reminders page, and this is something that I've never really given much thought to in such an organized way. It's always been more like exercise, get enough sleep, eat healthy, but after seeing this, I find that it's so much more than that. In this layout, I divided the sections into physical, emotional, social, spiritual, personal, space, financial, and work. And in each section, I'm going to write down what I can do or avoid to better myself in that area. So that is my 2020 layout. I'm going to do a quick flip through before I move on to the January layout. For my January layout, I chose a light bulb theme with a yellow palette, and I thought the light bulb theme seemed fitting just because I relate that to when you get a new, fresh idea and that imaginary light bulb goes off in your head. So since January is the first fresh month of the year, I thought it would be a perfect fit. And of course, starting out the layout with a quote, and the one that I chose was, "The best time for new beginnings is now," which again I thought was very fitting for beginning the year. On the next page, I have my monthly calendar overview, which took up mostly both sides and had the light bulb theme again. On the side panel, I have a little section for my goals. Now, this is a little different than my 2020 goals page because it's more short-term and focused on what I want to achieve that specific month as opposed to the entire year. Now this next section is completely new to me and I think will be the most helpful in getting back into routine, and that is my habit tracker. So there are a few different layouts for habit trackers, but I chose this calendar style layout, and what I basically did was write down all the habits that I want to keep track of, like exercising, eating healthy, playing my ukulele, reading, learning the new language that I want to learn, taking vitamins and drinking water, art in whatever form, YouTube, which doesn't mean watching videos on YouTube unless it's like tutorials or something helpful, but instead working on something that benefits my YouTube channel. So editing or filming or writing down ideas, And lastly, podcasts, which I want to start looking for some that relate to topics that I'm interested in, like film or photography or starting a new business. And next to that section, I have my mood tracker, which I drew in the form of light bulbs. So there's a light bulb for each day of the month, and then according to my mood, I match that with a specific color. Now, as you can see, I messed up and colored all the light bulbs and I wasn't even thinking about it, but luckily it's light enough so that I can color over if I need to. Lastly, I have my weekly spread. Now, when I filmed this, it was the second week of January, so I didn't add in the first week, but for the layout, I decided to do individual boxes for each day instead of a vertical or horizontal type layout. Very simple and clean, and of course, I couldn't leave out the light bulbs. For future layouts, I would like to combine Saturday and Sunday into just a weekend section and add in another section for notes, but I'm really happy with how it turned out. So that's it for my 2020 and January layout, and here's a quick flip through of everything. I just realized the outro I filmed has no sound, so there you have it. This is how I plan to get organized this year, and I know it seems like a lot to keep track of, but it really is a fun and creative way to get back into routine. I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you're new to this channel, hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you in the next video.